Greetings, everyone. This is Elizabeth, and today we are gonna look at how to unstick a folder in our Mincs. I had this warming up, and it took me a bit to get it stuck in the first place, but sometimes we get it in there and we don't do it straight or whatever happens, and that's the result. It gets stuck in there. So I turn it back on, and you can see it's like I was able to pull it on that side, but it mangled the corner, and I gave it a little tug there to get it out. And we've got some wrinkling here. Sometimes the wrinkling gets way worse than this. Let me send this back through. Let's see if we can't. Sometimes we just get it too close to that edge. When you get it too close to the edge, that's when the boo-boos can happen. I'm going to try and send it in crooked. Okay. So if you notice that it's going in crooked, you can panic and shut it off. It won't hurt it at all, okay? So on the big Minc, okay, they have the shut off button. And on the opposite side, we have the reverse button. So if I hit reverse, okay, it even has an R for reverse and an F for forward. And then I turn the power back on, okay. Now it's pushing it back out, okay. You do not have to turn it off to do this. I'm going to flip the reverse switch now. See? You can definitely do your reverse and forward. Here, let me do that with a piece of paper. See if you can see that better. Okay, so we're going to feed it through. We're going to get it super close to our edge so it eats, hopefully eats it a little bit. Okay. So we can see that it's going in at an angle, and you want to stop it before then, so you can reach up there, hit the reverse, and it will shoot it back out, okay? And then you just be patient, it'll come out, okay? But if you have the big 12 by 12 sheets, okay, and you have a hard time lining them up, what I like to do is put it in reverse, okay? That way there you can get everything, but the rollers are going the wrong way, so it's not going to grab the paper and pull it down backwards or anything, okay? This is nice and snug up against the rollers. I only need one hand, so I've grabbed the back of the paper. I can feel that it's nice and snug, and then I can turn it on in the forward direction, and it's going to pull that nice and straight. I'm going to reverse that back out because I want to get a little bit more wrinkle in this one here. And you can see I've been sending it through, but it's not ironing it out, and that's because I don't have it on a heat setting. It's just on a cold setting, because it'll wrinkle on any setting. So again, we've got it really crooked if we're not paying attention, and it happens. I mean, that's how I know we can fix this, as long as it's not too crinkly. And of course I didn't get it caught enough. Okay, let's try this again. We really want you all bent out of shape, peepa. Come on. Okay, let's try this again. We're going to get it super close and a little crooked in there. There we go. Maybe. It's going in at an angle, so hopefully it'll snag up a little bit. Oh yeah, it's coming out a little crooked here. It's starting to catch. You can hear it crunching in there. snagging on the corner. And I just wiggled it out, and it snagged that corner pretty good. But it's not wrinkling too much. For me, it's really hard to get a bad wrinkle. But you can see some of this is our first wrinkle. We've got a bent corner here, okay? So you can open it up, work that little crease a little bit, okay? So I'm folding this back on itself so that it will lay flat. Now I'm going to turn this to heat 2 or 3, depending. Okay, so I've got it on heat 2. Now we're just going to try and iron it out. Okay, and this is actually not too bad. I could use it in this format as it is. But say yours is a little bit more wrinkly. One folder I trimmed because it really crinkled the side, and that was easy. I just put it in the trimmer and just trimmed off that little crinkle there. Okay, so you work your little fold there. That way there you can send it through flat. Okay, with some heat. At this point you need heat because now we're going to iron out the wrinkles. And while we're waiting for that to iron out, just know you can, if you really trashed it beyond repair, you can buy a 12 by 12 sheet and trim it down to the size you need if you don't have the big mink. And even in my big mink, oops, I don't use the full sheet all the time. I usually send like that through, and then when that's mostly through, I'll send that one through. So I'm constantly feeding the mama mink with all my projects. Okay, so I can feel that the heat setting on this wasn't enough because the plastic's not warm. So we're going to turn that up even while it's still in there. That's perfectly fine. Okay. And you can kind of see though, it did work out this crinkle pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to flip it back over, and this time I'm going to send it through the other. So I had it going through this way. I'm just going to flip it over and send it through again. Let that warm up. Okay, now here's, if you're a crooked feeder, I'm just going to throw it in reverse, get it lined up in there. Why did that feel crooked? Get that lined up in there, and then just turn it on to forward motion, and it will take that nice and straight. Okay. You can use, this is a vellum that I made into a folder because I was doing a ton at once. So I just filled them all. You can use plain white copy paper. You can use parchment paper. Though parchment paper doesn't last as long. Oops, it sounds crunchy because it's snagging on my little shelf here. I forgot to put my piece of paper there to help it along. Oops. So, I don't know if you can tell, but the 3 lines, I can still feel them, but they're pretty well flat now. You can kind of see that one right there, that one right there, but they're fairly decent flat now. Sorry, this is, you know, she's got to take her time. So we can close our folder back up, okay? And even though you can see the marks, that's not going to affect the foiling whatsoever. And let me grab, oh, what did I do with my stuff? I've been trying to clean my mess and I've lost my stuff. Isn't that how it goes? Okay. So let me get a little piece of this, a little piece of this. Come here, foil. Okay, so just to show you that that wrinkle is not gonna affect anything, let me find something that needs some foil. Okay. So we're gonna set that right in there, right where that wrinkle is. Okay. Gonna get some foil on those little boogers. Of course, do your dusty. Okay. You see that wrinkle right there? Now here's the fold in my folder. I want to make sure that goes in first, because those wheels, if sorry, I should have mentioned this too. If you get some serious crinkles across, okay, instead of feeding it the same way, zoom out, okay, instead of feeding it the same way, turn it a quarter turn, okay, it will put your fold not with the rollers. Now, when you put it in, you're going to be extra careful. So I'm going to put this one in reverse. Okay. And on the little mink, you just have to hold the reverse button. So you're holding the reverse button. You get this crinkly paper right up in there. Okay. And then you let go and you let it go through. This method, you want to be careful because you can wrinkle it even more. It's not meant to go in with your seam anywhere but touching the rollers first. I hope that makes sense. You always want to put the seam, the fold in first. Even if you're using copy paper, okay, you want to put that fold in first. It's just a really good habit to get into to do that. Now here this comes, and it ironed that corner out a little bit more. Okay, and I'm not using high heat. There's no reason for it, because like I said, even with the marks, this is still gonna work. Okay, and we are going to make sure that this paper and the foil is right where those marks are. Can you see that? Those marks? Okay, they're on both sides. I'm going to turn this so that my fold is right up against my rollers. I can put it in reverse, make sure it's nice and snug up in there, turn it on to feed through. It doesn't matter that the paper sticks out. Okay. Your carrier is mainly to get it started, because if you put your paper and the foil in, the rollers could slide the foil out of alignment. But with it between the sandwich, it holds it there in place. You don't need any tape. You don't need anything, because once you tape it, your foil will definitely wrinkle because it needs a little bit of wiggle room. Okay. You've got a lot of pressure in there, squishing your bits. Okay, you can see how this has moved and wrinkled, but it's super smooth where my image is. That's how it's supposed to look. Okay, see that? Wrinkly, super smooth. And it's able to do this because you don't tape it down. If you tape it down, it's going to snag where those tape is and shift it. And it's not going to be pretty. Okay, so remember, it did leave a little mark right there, and I overfoiled a little, and that's not because the heat settings was too high. I've had a little bit of printer issue. There's actually toner right there, so technically I guess it's not overfoiling. There's actually toner sitting on the paper, but see, it didn't affect the paper at all. Yes, it left a little imprint in the foil, but you know what? Nobody's going to know. And at the end of the day, when you've peeled it back, there's no marks here. Okay. And that one would have had a mark right through it right there, okay? And there's no marks, okay? For not dusty, that foiled really, really, really well, okay? So if you get your folder stuck, don't panic. You can shut it off, okay? Put it in reverse if you have the Big Mama, or put your finger up there and hold it and turn it back on to pull it out, okay? And so now it's in your reverse mode. You put it in reverse mode. That was weird. Put it in reverse mode. That was weird. To stop the carrier from going in. That way there you can get it adjusted. Take it out of reverse and it will feed it through nice and straight. And roll back to the beginning of this footage. You saw that when it got snagged right there, I kind of gave it a little tug to help pop the corner out, okay? And you're not going to really be foiling anything in that area, so you wouldn't even worry about it. We saw that these, you can feel it, but it's flat but bumpy. It's kind of weird, okay? It's not going to affect the work. I will still be using this, okay? I hope you find that helpful. And again, oh, yeah, see, here's the one I was looking for. You can see the lines in there, but over the use, I don't feel that raised area anymore. It's gone, okay? So, as long as it's not... as long as it has an area that you can send through that's still smooth, flatten it out. Okay, work your little fold there, flatten it out, send it through. You don't need anything in there with it. If you've got jaggy edges, I've got jaggy edges because my cutter cut crooked. This was from the 12 by 12. Okay, you just trim it. If it eats too much, just trim it. Okay, because they're square. You could foil. Okay, see, most papers aren't going to go to the edges, so you'll have room to trim to make a nice flat area. If you do it folded, do it gently so it doesn't crinkle the other way. Okay, use your reverse to hold the roller still so you can get everything lined up. Okay, if it gets too stuck, just give a gentle tug, okay, and everything should pop out for you. Alrighty, I hope that was helpful. Don't panic too much. It happens. Definitely want to make sure you're putting in the folded edge first all the time, okay? You're taking a risk when you put it like this, because remember, all that pressure is gonna slightly pull on it, and if it snags just right, it could really wrinkle your work. That's why you don't tape these down, okay? Because when it's in here and it's getting smushed, it's going to wiggle a little bit. You need that wiggle. You need to have these little bits of wave, and those aren't going to hurt anything. So if you have a little tiny project, you could cut that little section out, put it on, and use it, okay? And you're double foiling, so if I put this on another sheet all black, that will foil flat. Those wrinkles will disappear, okay? So don't panic if you see a little bit of wave in your foil. It's supposed to do that. What it's not supposed to do is get on there and get all bendy like this, all bent out of shape. And you would get that if you taped it down. Okay, I think I covered everything. Do a little tug if you're not paying attention. It does go in crooked. Give it a little tug, okay? Oops, I know, quit beeping at me. You can shut it off. Let yourself breathe. know to put it in reverse. If you have to hold it on the little one, hold it in place. Do your reverse. Let it back out. Okay. Assess the situation. Is it minor? Is it major? If it's minor, you know, you can trim the edge a little bit so you have something nice and flat to work with. Open it up. Send it through. That way there you can kind of save it. If they get dirty, okay, mine look marred and pressed. I mean, it doesn't affect it in a negative way. Ooh, here's another one. See that? I still use them. And it happens. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. That one, I forgot I did that one. That one was a disaster. I had to really wiggle that one out of there. You see all the lines in there? But overuse, over multiple uses, this one's still got a little bit of feel. You can kind of feel the bumps in there. But I've never had a project look like it was bad because of that. Okay. So even though I can feel this one more prominent than these, this one was worse than that one. Oops. So they will work themselves out. This is nice and smooth. This one's got a little bit of bump in there, but it's not going to affect anything. It will run through nice and smooth now. No problems. I know I repeated myself a lot, but hopefully, if you were taking notes, you were able to catch it like the third or fourth time I said it. And don't panic. There's always a fix for it. Okay. So, yeah, if you have any questions, definitely drop an email at chatwithsassy@gmail.com. Or on the Foiling Snobs Club, you can say, I did this, and we'll link you right back to this video. But if it's worse, we can also do like a video chat, and you can show what's going on. I would be very willing to help you unclog your machine, because we definitely spend a lot on these. They're super hard to find, and we want them in top working condition. Another safety tip, I use a silicone heating mat. These things absorb temperatures for the oven up to 450. Okay, I have this one here for that one. I bring down my mini Minc and she sits right there. And then I just back that one up a little bit and I put like I just put a ramp for my project. So I can use them both right here, okay? And they get their nice heat-resistant padding, because these do get hot. These are not meant for little kids or super sensitive fingers, because it's hot. They're not play toys, okay? But yeah, and that's not so hot. That's not as hot as the top because I have that mat there. You can use wood, you can use glass. Just know that if you use glass mat under this to absorb the heat, don't have any drinks or water nearby, because you get it super hot for any reason and then spill your cold drink on it and you will have a mess to clean up. Just saying, okay? So enjoy your Minc. It should not be frustrating. If you come across the boo-boo and your last thing is destroyed, grab out some parchment paper, grab out your copy paper, a piece of vellum, okay? Just know your thicker paper is going to need a little bit higher setting, okay? So keep that in mind. Your parchment is super thin. These are fabulous because the way they wick the heat, they just let the heat fill them, okay? And then it transfers to your paper very nicely. That's why these are recommended. But you can get the same results with parchment, copy paper, vellum, and some people do naked foiling. They put their foil on, they put their paper there, and they send it through. that works for them. That kind of worries me because I'm always afraid because you know this is super thin. I'm always afraid it's going to catch in a roller. But they don't have any problems. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.